It was a warm Saturday night in Southern California. The kind of evening that felt calm and predictable. It was just another weekend dinner in a bustling shopping center. Gloria Zamora had just finished a meal with someone she deeply trusted. The conversation was light. The mood was hopeful. By all accounts, it was supposed to be a good night. At 9:40 p.m., she stepped out of the restaurant. She began walking toward the parking lot. What happened next took less than 60 seconds. A figure emerged from the shadows. There was no warning. There was no time to run. There was just the deafening sound of gunfire. And then there was silence. Within minutes, 3 lives were changed forever. When authorities confirmed the identity of the gunman, the entire community was left stunned. This is the story behind that moment. It is a story of ambition, betrayal, and obsession. It is the story of a woman who refused to stay silent. Gloria Zamora was born around 1985 in Fresno, California. She was the 3rd child in a family of Mexican immigrants. Her parents were both seeking a better future far from their homeland. Her mother came from Palpa, Zacatecas. Her father was originally from Jalisco. When Gloria was only 2 or 3 years old, her parents separated. The home environment had been difficult. Her father struggled with alcoholism. There were accounts of abuse that left deep emotional scars. Gloria didn't hold many memories of her father. But she understood that her mother had once come dangerously close to losing her life. After the separation, Gloria, her mother, and her 3 older siblings moved to East Los Angeles. They went to live with her grandmother. It was a strict household. There were firm rules and little tenderness. Her mother and older brother launched a small food business to stay afloat. Daily life was still a struggle. Gloria described her childhood as anything but easy. She was only able to reach the 8th grade before life took a different turn. At just 16 years old, Gloria became pregnant with her first daughter. The baby's father was even younger than she was. He didn't stay around. Suddenly, Gloria faced motherhood alone while still being a teenager herself. Supported by her family, she relocated to a city in San Bernardino County. That's where she began to rebuild. After giving birth, she juggled multiple jobs. Sometimes she worked 2, even 3 at once. She studied at night in a determined effort to finish high school. Her only goal was to give her daughter a better life. As time went on, Gloria's bond with her siblings began to unravel. While she tried to stay focused and responsible, they fell into the grip of substance abuse. That created growing tension and distance between them. By the age of 20, Gloria got married for the first time. She had 2 more children during this period. For a while, things seemed stable. But slowly, cracks in the marriage began to show. Signs of infidelity emerged. The trust broke down. Gloria hesitated to end it. She was afraid of raising 3 children on her own. But life had another test in store. Around the age of 24, during a routine doctor's visit, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. The news was devastating. It shook her world. It forced her to reevaluate everything. Battling a life-threatening illness while caring for her kids wasn't easy. Trying to keep her home together was a struggle. But it pushed her to make one of the hardest decisions of her life. She decided to face divorce and move forward alone. Not long after her separation, Gloria met Thomas Alberto Tamayo. He was striking. He was someone people noticed right away. Neighbors described him as charming, magnetic, and seductive. Many women in the neighborhood were drawn to him. But when Thomas met Gloria, something shifted. Their connection was strong. Over time, they grew close and became a couple. For Gloria, it felt like the beginning of a new chapter. It was a chapter filled with hope, even after years of struggle and survival. After marrying Thomas, Gloria's life seemed to settle into a new rhythm. Together they built a blended family full of energy and love. From this relationship came 4 more children. This included a pair of twins born in 2017. With 6 children now in her care, Gloria embraced a busy, vibrant household. She was known for her relentless drive. She was always on the move. She was always thinking about what more she could do to support her family. Her entrepreneurial spirit never faded. Around the time her twins were born, Gloria came up with a new idea. It was an idea that merged her passion with purpose. She turned to social media, hoping to create something impactful. Fitness had always played an important role in her life. After her last pregnancy, she faced new challenges with her body and identity. Instead of hiding them, she chose to share them. Gloria began uploading videos to digital platforms. She posted short routines, realistic advice, and motivational messages. Her content was crafted specifically for mothers. It was for mothers who, like her, were learning to love and care for their bodies again. In the beginning, the response was minimal. Most of her views came from men, not the audience she had hoped to reach. But she didn't give up. She kept showing up day after day. She was fueled by consistency and the desire to create a real community. Slowly things began to change. Her message started reaching the right people. It reached women who saw their own stories reflected in hers. Women who wanted hope, strength, and someone who truly understood. Gloria became a fitness influencer. It didn't happen overnight, but step by step. Her videos began gaining traction. Her following expanded. Eventually, she reached over 165,000 followers. Her voice resonated with hundreds of mothers across the country. They saw her not just as a trainer, but as an inspiration. By early 2025, at the age of 40, Gloria began to dream bigger. Her digital presence had opened doors. But her heart still craved more connection and more impact. Around this time, she met Hector Garduno. He was a man who, like her, was deeply committed to physical wellness. Hector was a father of 4 daughters. He was a few years her senior. He was known for his integrity and dedication. What began between them was rooted in admiration and respect. They shared a vision, not just romantic, but professional. With Hector's support, Gloria's confidence grew. She began teaching her own fitness classes at a local gym. Clients were drawn not just to her techniques, but to her story. They saw in her a symbol of resilience. Together, Gloria and Hector started working toward a shared dream. They dreamed of opening a gym of their own. Around mid-2025, she took yet another bold step in her journey. She joined a podcast that focused on female empowerment. It was a platform for women to speak openly about trauma, healing, and transformation. In episode 18, Gloria let herself be vulnerable. She opened up about her teenage pregnancy. She talked about how she navigated motherhood at such a young age. She recalled her cancer diagnosis. She talked about how it reshaped her life. She revisited the emotional toll of her first marriage. She spoke about the absence of support from her own family when she needed it most. But it was in a later episode released on June 16 that Gloria revealed something shocking. It shocked many of her followers. Behind the smiling videos and positive messages, she had been living a silent battle. She spoke candidly for the first time about her ongoing separation from Thomas. Their divorce had turned bitter. She described the emotional abuse she had endured. She talked about how it wore her down daily. It clouded her confidence and shook her sense of self-worth. She confessed that living with someone who constantly tried to tear her down was painful. It was a pain no one could see through a phone screen. He made her feel unworthy and small. Her story resonated deeply with listeners. It was raw, real, and courageous. It reminded everyone that even the strongest voices online often carry invisible scars. It showed that healing sometimes begins the moment we decide to speak the truth out loud. Gloria had reached a turning point in her life. She was no longer willing to live in silence. She wanted her children to grow up with an example of strength, dignity, and courage. What many saw as a powerful act of vulnerability was meant to inspire other women to break free. But that same brave confession may have triggered a chain of devastating events. 5 days later, on Saturday, June 21, Gloria went out to dinner. She went to a sushi restaurant located inside a well-known shopping center. She wasn't alone. Hector, her business partner, was with her. The evening appeared to unfold without incident. There was casual conversation and shared goals. It was the next step in a life she was carefully rebuilding. But at 9:40 p.m., just as they were walking toward the parking lot, everything shattered. It happened in an instant. A man approached them quickly and without warning. With no words exchanged and no chance to react, he raised a weapon and opened fire. First at Hector, then at Gloria. It was a brutal, calculated attack. As the shooter tried to flee, a police officer who happened to be off duty nearby heard the gunshots. He acted immediately. He intercepted the suspect in his vehicle. He ordered him to stop. But instead of surrendering, the man turned violent. This led to a shootout. Within moments, the attacker was fatally wounded. Authorities later confirmed his identity. It was Thomas, Gloria's husband. Meanwhile, paramedics rushed to help Gloria and Hector. They were both transported to a nearby hospital. But their injuries were too severe. Despite medical efforts, neither survived. News of the tragedy spread fast. Within hours, the headlines took over social media. Thousands of users expressed disbelief, sadness, and outrage. Gloria's name began trending. Her followers, her community, and women across the country flooded platforms with messages of grief and remembrance. They reposted her videos. They shared clips of her smiling and encouraging others. They shared her strength. What stunned many was the timing. Just days before, Gloria had revealed her painful divorce. She had spoken openly about the abuse, the struggle, and her decision to walk away. For some, this wasn't just a tragedy. It was a crime foretold. People began calling it what it was, a femicide. As the investigation unfolded, disturbing details about her marriage to Thomas emerged. The couple had reportedly faced tension since the birth of their first child. Arguments over money had evolved into deeper rifts. Gloria worked multiple jobs. Thomas showed little interest in helping around the house. She tried to manage everything: work, children, and a home. He appeared detached and passive. One constant source of conflict was order. Gloria had a deep need for cleanliness and structure. Thomas rarely respected that. But the breaking point came when she shared her dream of creating fitness videos aimed at mothers. Still recovering from the birth of their twins, Gloria felt insecure about her body. She hoped her content could motivate others going through the same. But instead of supporting her, Thomas reportedly mocked her. He dismissed her efforts. He belittled her appearance. He claimed no one would care about a woman with stretch marks and a soft belly. His words were cruel. They were designed not to help, but to silence. Initially, she listened. She doubted herself and let the project go. But over time, her daughters encouraged her to try again. Their belief in her lit the fire that Thomas had tried to put out. In the days that followed her death, Gloria's oldest daughter spoke out. Through her pain, she became the family's voice. She was strong and honest. She shared how much she missed her mother. She said she still expected to see her walk through the door like nothing had happened. She spoke of the emptiness and the longing. She talked about the need to stay strong for her siblings and her grandmother. She wanted to be strong for everyone left behind. Rumors began circulating that Hector had been Gloria's new partner. But her daughter clarified that this wasn't the case. At the time of the attack, they were simply concluding a work meeting. They were finalizing plans for the gym they had dreamed of opening together. He was her partner, but in business, not love. Her eldest son described her marriage to Thomas in simple, devastating terms. He called it a living hell. While Thomas portrayed himself as a respectable, supportive stepfather to outsiders, the reality at home was far different. The older daughters had also sensed the truth. They had long disliked Thomas. They said he wore a mask in public. He was polite, charming, almost princely. But in private, he was a narcissist. He was obsessed with controlling his image and narrative. He often told others that he provided for the household. But in reality, it was Gloria who worked tirelessly. She managed multiple responsibilities, financial and domestic, to keep the family afloat. After her last pregnancy, she underwent reconstructive surgery to remove excess skin. Yet, Thomas took credit. He bragged to friends that he had paid for it. In the final months before the tragedy, something in Thomas shifted. Gloria was growing professionally. She was gaining thousands of followers. She was building a loyal customer base for her online store. Resentment took root in Thomas. Jealousy bloomed. He began to mock her. He undermined her appearance, her success, and her self-worth. Bit by bit, she lost respect for him. Emotionally, she distanced herself. As early as a year before her death, Gloria had told Thomas she no longer wanted to be with him. But he refused to grant a divorce. It wasn't until early 2025 that she finally decided to end their 15-year marriage. She was done waiting. Gloria's mother later revealed that Thomas had a history of obsessive behavior. He stalked her daughter. He followed her from work. He made threats. In her words, he would do anything to destroy her. In the wake of her murder, the community rallied behind her children. A GoFundMe campaign was launched to raise support for her family. The organizers described Gloria as a radiant presence. They called her a motivator and a mother whose life was stolen in a senseless act of violence. The fundraiser spread quickly. It collected over $25,000 within days. The money was to assist her 7 children, who ranged from 8 to 24 years old. It was also to cover funeral costs. Hector's daughters also launched a campaign. They described their father as a devoted, hardworking man. They said he had loved deeply and lived with purpose. His loss, they said, had left an unfillable void in their hearts. But not everyone on the internet showed compassion. Soon, social media turned into a battlefield. While many demanded justice for Gloria, others began to defend Thomas. Some users claimed his story deserved to be told, too. They said he had been a loyal husband and a dedicated father. They called him a provider for the family. They pointed to the longevity of their marriage as evidence of something worth preserving. More disturbingly, others blamed Gloria. Some accused her of wounding Thomas's pride. Others questioned her choices as a mother. They claimed she should have dressed more modestly or behaved with more restraint. It was a disturbing undercurrent of misogyny. It sought to rationalize the violence she endured. Videos surfaced from people who knew Thomas personally. Some outright accused Gloria of emotional manipulation. They painted her as the abuser. One even cited a supposed domestic violence complaint against her filed in January. They claimed she was allegedly arrested for attacking Thomas. Some insisted that Thomas had done everything for her. They said he had given her everything she wanted, yet nothing had been enough. They alleged that Gloria and Hector had publicly mocked Thomas. They implied that repeated humiliation pushed him past his breaking point. The investigation revealed chilling new information. In the days before the murder, Thomas had begun tracking Gloria. He had allegedly installed a GPS-like device on her car to monitor her movements in real time. On the night of the attack, he followed her from the moment she left home. He hid in the shadows for nearly an hour, watching. He knew she was with Hector. He knew where they were. And he knew what he planned to do. Police later speculated that his plan didn't end at the restaurant. After the shooting, Thomas may have intended to go to Gloria's home to harm her children next. No matter how the story is told, no matter whose version is louder, one brutal truth remains. 11 children lost their parents that night. 11 lives are now marked by a profound, irreparable absence. Their sources of love, protection, and guidance were stolen in a moment. That is the deepest tragedy of this story. Whatever else is said, whatever debates unfold online, this is what matters most. 11 children now live in the aftermath. And so the question remains, how do we protect the next Gloria? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again?